I'm going to go ahead and start with a prayer here. Whoops, hold on here. For some reason that went to the very end. There we go. All right, let's start with a prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thine intercession was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgins. My mother, to thee I come. Before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I thought we would start with self-paced and kind of move into Homeschool Plus. I just want to make sure everyone can see my PowerPoint here.
Hey, Christy, can you share it again?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are we there? I think that looks right.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're going to start with self-paced and talk a little bit about self-paced courses and then self-paced plus courses, the differences, and what you can expect with those two courses, and then we'll move into the Homeschool Plus orientation. To begin with, we have Colby's self-paced courses, and sometimes you'll see this as SP, and that's distinct from self-paced plus, which is usually an SP with a plus after it. And it can be confusing because they're similar, but they're different ways we offer homeschool courses in Schoology that include digital content. So we'll talk first about self-paced. If you enrolled your student in a self-paced course, they will have that course in Schoology, and they will access it through their Schoology account. They will see, and I'll show some pictures in a little bit that will kind of give you an idea of what it should look like. But what they'll find there is they will find digital content in weekly folders divided up into semesters and weeks. So they'll be able to click on a semester, click on a week that they're working on, and in that weekly folder, it has the course plan divided up for them with assignments, readings. There are auto-graded quizzes in those weekly folders, and it kind of depends on the subject that you're taking. Sometimes there will be chapter tests in those folders. Other times there will be other supplemental tools, a lot of optional supplemental tools. You'll find a lot of assignments and content in those weekly folders. Something that is characteristic of the self-paced course is that the parent is the teacher. So all of those assignments you see in the weekly folders will be submitted by the student to the parent. There are those quizzes or those auto-graded assessments that you'll see in the weekly folders. They can take those and they'll get a grade. They'll be auto-graded. But anything that needs feedback, anything that needs grading that cannot be auto-graded, that you'll see the assignment in there, but then you'll see in the assignment that it asks the student to submit it to the parent. So the benefit of the self-paced course is that the student has in these weekly folders all of the course plan divided up for them, and there is the video lecture. So they're able to click and access a video lecture of the teacher teaching through that weekly content, and then they have all their assignments right there, nice and neat in the weekly folders. The parent, being the teacher, is the one who will grade the work. The parents provided everything they need to be able to grade the work. We'll talk about that in a second. But the parent grades the work. The parent is in charge of pacing the course for the student. So any due dates are set by the parent, and And that's the way that course works. The student has a year to complete the self-paced courses. Once they purchase, when you enroll, you will put your start date, and you have a year from that start date to finish the course. And then once the student has completed the course, the parent will submit samples and grades, just like they would with a homeschool course, to the student's advisor. So this is self-paced. These are the self-paced courses. And just as a side, if a student does need more time with a course, you can talk to your advisor about how to get more time with a course. Okay, having trouble, there we go. So then to talk a little bit about Self-Paced Plus, the differences. If you enrolled your student in a Self-Paced Plus course, everything we said about self-paced is all still true, except for in the Self-Paced Plus course, the student has a teacher. There's some changes, some additions that we've made this year that are a little bit different from last year in this area as well, that we hope will make it an even better experience for the students. But so the students will have all of the course plan divided up into weekly folders. There's still that optional, those optional supplements that are often in there. There's the video lectures that they'll be able to watch of that weekly content. And sometimes it's divided up by days, even depending on the course. Sometimes there's more than just one weekly video, but some daily videos in there. And then there's those auto-graded quizzes that they can take also to get kind of immediate response to the work that they're doing. And then they're also able, just like the self-paced course, they're able to work at their own pace. So when we say that there's the addition of a teacher with Self-Paced Plus, there are certain assignments that your student will submit to a teacher for grading, to their teacher. And this depends on the subject. So it may be tests, it usually is exams, some chapter tests, depending on the subject. And then if it's a humanities course, there's going to be essays. If not, there may be other assignments that they'll submit for grading. But regardless, and I'll show you here in a couple of slides how you can know which assignments are called for. But some of those assignments the student will submit to the teacher, and the assignments that are called for are the only assignments that they can submit to the teacher. So you'll see still all of the assignments in the weekly folders. Some will be, they'll be given the instruction to submit to a parent. But the ones that get submitted to the teacher will ask for the student to do so, and I'll show that here in the next couple slides. Something that we've added this year is direct access to the teacher. So we hope that the student will have a better experience with Self-Paced Plus, being able to actually email their teacher and interact with their teacher in a way that wasn't previously possible. And so the student can interact with the teacher or email the teacher if they need clarification on anything or they need help with a week's content. There are also discussion boards that the teacher can post to kind of add to the student interaction, but also to help kind of guide the student in the practice of that material. And the teacher helps the parent to oversee the course. So the parent and the teacher are in a way partnering together with this, because this is a self-paced program. Ultimately, the parent is the one who decides when they would like their student to finish the course, or how they would like them to complete the course. Do you want your student submitting every week? That's recommended. But it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes we have students who like to submit their work, after a few weeks of doing it. Doesn't mean they aren't keeping up with it, but they don't like to submit every day or every week. And that ultimately is the parent's decision, how they want to go about doing that. But when you enroll the student, you put your start date. Now with a teacher, there's someone who's there who knows, okay, this student's coming near the end of the course. They've had almost a year with the course. So there's a teacher now who can kind of oversee the pacing and say, hey, I noticed you still have a whole quarter's worth of work you haven't submitted. Is there anything I can do to make sure, that that you're getting your work turned in, or that you're having any problems with anything I can help you with. And then the student can say, oh no, I'm doing it, I'm just haven't, or the student can say, yeah, actually, I would love help with this. Or so there's that teacher there to help, to partner with the parent and oversee the pacing, and also guide the student in learning the material. So the Self-Paced Plus program is that we have the asynchronous teacher who's there to help teach the student. And then they can also offer office hours. There are times when there's concepts that are difficult to discuss over email, or we have the capability on Schoology to make videos, even if you want to show your work and the teacher can show how they're doing something step by step, and that's very useful as well. But at times you kind of feel like, if I could just talk with a student. I know I feel that way sometimes with writing. I feel like if I could just sit with a student for 15 minutes and say these things, it seems like it would be a lot easier to get it across than in an email or in a video. And so now the asynchronous teachers are able to offer that and say, hey, we've tried to, kind of get this across, through email, and it seems like maybe we can have a conversation in an office hour, and that way the student is able to actually interact with the teacher and other students, because other students may be there as well. So to kind of give you, to anyone who's new, or to anyone who doesn't take online classes and maybe isn't that familiar with Schoology, Schoology is where your student will find their self-paced courses. So they'll go to Schoology, they'll log in with their student username, and they will click on courses. And then I'll just here's the picture here. They'll click on courses up at the top left there, and a drop down, they'll see a drop down here with any courses they're taking in this list here. And if they're in a Self-Paced Plus course, then there'll also be an orientation, a student orientation course that's actually separate. It appears as a separate course. And they click on the course that they want to enter. And so in this case, it would be your Self-Paced Plus course. And then what you'll see is, and this varies a little bit by subject, but what you'll see here is this is an example of Math 6 Self-Paced Plus. This is your materials page. If you look at the left, you'll see materials, updates, gradebook. That's kind of, the student can check their grades there in the gradebook. The updates tab is where they would go to see if the teacher had posted any updates for them, which may occasionally happen. And so you would click updates, and then you see them all there, and there's a history of them. And then materials page is where you'll find everything you need for the course plans, the work, and submitting assignments. So here on the materials page, you'll see first a welcome folder. And in this welcome folder, there's a few different things. There's a meet the teacher document where they'll get to see or meet their teacher, learn a little bit about who their teacher is. There is also a place in this folder where you will be asked, the student will be asked to upload their student orientation certificate. So before they can submit work, they will need to take the student orientation, which is a shortened version. If your student is already in live classes, then they will use the same certificate. They're able to use that same orientation, because the Self-Paced Plus orientation is just kind of a dwarfed version of the online one. So if your student is in live classes, they don't need to do another orientation. They can just submit their live online certificate to the assignment, and so that assignment will be in this welcome folder. There'll also be a link to the texts for this course in that folder. There'll be probably some other supplemental things in there. Some of them will be optional. And it kind of like you see here, like you see the folder here in green, the course resources. This is full of really optional supplemental things. And you can kind of look through and see if any of it's useful to you, but some of the courses really have a lot in there, and not that you should feel overwhelmed by it, because it's just there in case you need it. But a lot of it is optional, most of it. So that's the welcome folder. And then here, and depending also, you may see this self-paced plus graded assignment list. You may see it right on the materials page, or you may go into the welcome folder to find it. You don't see it right when you open up the materials page, check that welcome folder. And what this is a list of all of the assignments that are called for to be submitted. So in these semester folders down there, you open up that semester one, you'll see all the weekly folders. You open up the weekly folder, you'll see all of the course plan assignments, readings, the video lecture, the auto-graded quiz. And when there is an assignment that should be turned in to the parent, that assignment will be in that weekly folder also. But just so that the student and the parent can tell ahead of time what's going to be called for submission, and in which weeks it's called for, it's all right up here for you to see very easily. So I know that's one question we get a lot, is how do we know which assignments we should submit to you and which assignments they submit to me, the parent? Right up front here, these are the assignments that they should submit, where they'll get feedback from the teacher. Now there are also those auto-graded quizzes in all of the weekly folders, but that's not really feedback. That's just an auto-graded thing. So these assignments here are the ones that are called for, and they tell you here the week that they'll be called for. You can find them, and these are linked, so you can access the assignment here, or you can also access them within the weekly folders. Something else to point out is you'll have your teacher's information on the bottom left here. So your student will be able to know who is teaching the course, the teacher's email if they need it, the teacher's link to the office, to the teacher's office. Now, office hours are by appointment, and if there is going to be an office hour, the teacher will use the update tab to let the class know. And so she'll use that to let the students know the day and the time, and possibly what specific concepts she'll be going over, maybe which week, because remember, all the students are potentially in different weeks, going through different weeks of the material at the same time. So she'll let you know, okay, we're going to be going over this week's content, or we're going to be going over this concept, because maybe she had a student or two who were asking for extra help with it. She'll post that as an update, so all students know, hey, there's a live office hour at this day and time, and you're welcome to come and take part in it. And this link down here at the bottom left is the link to her office in Adobe, and that's where the office hours take place. So they would click that link, and that's where they would attend an office hour. And then below that, we have, if you need technical help, you can live chat at Colby. That might be that you are having trouble logging into Schoology or something like that. If there's a tech issue, your teacher won't really be able to help you with that. But you can live chat at colby.org. If it's after hours, you can leave a message and someone will get to you promptly to help you figure that out. And then the last thing I want to mention about this slide is the grade reporting folder. This is a slight change, or an addition from last year. This year, you'll have the opportunity to have the teacher for the course submit the grades for this course for you as the parent, if you decide. So the way it works is, if your student, now we know there are a lot of assignments in the course plan that the student's turning into the parent, and the students not submitting to the teacher. So those assignments are not going to be accounted for in this Schoology gradebook. Only the assignments that they've submitted will be accounted for in the Schoology gradebook. As the parent, when you come to the end of semester one and it's time to submit that semester's grades, you can decide, do I want the teacher to submit the grade for me? Look at the grade in the grade book and decide, do I feel like this is reflective of the work my students done this year? Not only the work that the teacher has seen, but also the work that I as a parent have seen. And if I say yes, the grade is, it does reflect the grade I believe my student has earned, then in this grade reporting folder, you'll find a semester 1 and a semester 2 folder. And within it, there's an assessment for each semester. And you'll just go in, and it's like a quiz, but there's just one question, and it's just asking you, and this student is asked to include the parent on this. This really needs to be the parent who's making the ultimate decision. But it's just asking you how you would like to report your grade for semester 1. And then there's the same thing for semester 2. How would you like to report your grade for semester 2? Do you want the teacher to submit the grade in the Schoology gradebook? Or do you as a parent want to submit, you want to weight the grade differently? You want to include stuff that the student has done that the teacher hasn't seen, and then you're going to have a different grade ultimately, and you want to submit that grade. And so if you decide to go with option A, I want the teacher to submit for me, then you as the parent do not need to do anything else. You let them know in that assessment, and the teacher will then submit the grade. The samples are already there from the Self-Paced Plus course, and you don't need to do anything else. You've submitted for that semester, and you'll need to do that for both semesters. If you decide, no, I want to submit the grade, I don't feel like the Schoology grade is reflective of what my student has done, then you'll just say, no, as a parent, I'm going to submit samples. I'm going to submit the grade. Then the teacher doesn't submit anything, and you as a parent would be responsible for submitting the samples and the grade to the advisor, just like you would for a regular homeschool course. And so it, you have the option to do this, and that's how it was this past year, was that you just parents submitted. So you still have that option, but you also have the option to have the teacher do it for you. So essentially you have less reporting to do, and it's done for you. All right, let me move along here. One final thing to bring up is that I said earlier, with the self-paced courses, but also with the Self-Paced Plus courses, the course plans are provided to the parents in the parent portal on PowerSchool. So if you need access to the course plans because you need access to some answer key, or you need access to the actual exam, or you need access to anything that's found within the course plan, you would go to the PowerSchool parent portal, and you use your parent credentials, and then you would, let me show you this picture here. When you are in the grades and attendance page here, you can see at the top, you'll see all the courses there in the middle. And if you go to the course you are wanting the course plan for, if you look over to the right a little bit, you'll see S1, S2, and underneath there are these little eyes. And if you click on the eye for the course that you're looking for, then a new page will open, and you'll have this section description category. And under there, you will see a course plan, what the course plan is for that course. You can click on it, and there you can find everything that's in the course plan, all of the weekly material, but also any exams, any paper prompts, any answer keys. It's all there. So anything that you would need to grade any of the materials in these courses is provided here in PowerSchool. So that's another question we get. Sometimes parents have in the self-paced course, is they'll see the assignment where they're supposed to complete the exam and submit it to their parent, but the exam's not there. You have to go to PowerSchool to get the exam. The exams are in the course plans. So that's something that sometimes we find may be confusing. So the course plans are found in PowerSchool, and that is where you'll find exams and answer keys. So just to summarize self-paced and self-paced plus, students can enroll at any time during the year, but they have a year from the time that they begin the course to finish it. And if they need an extension, you can contact your advisor and they can arrange for that. The course plans and exams are found in the parent portal on PowerSchool. If you have any technical problems, you should live chat at colby.org and they can help you figure those things out. And then specific to Self-Paced Plus courses, students will need to submit their orientation certificate to that assignment that's in the welcome folder prior to having any work graded. So the teachers won't be able to grade any work until they have that certificate. If they're not in online classes and they're taking just the self-paced student orientation, the most important thing in there is really there's a short quiz on there's some information and a short quiz on internet safety and etiquette. So should they take part in an office hour, we know that they understand what the expectations are in a live online environment. And then there's some information about academic honesty and the consequences if a student submits plagiarized work or anything like that. So then there's a short quiz on that. So that information is important for students to know because it's just like in online classes. If plagiarized work is submitted, the standard Colby policy applies. And so we want to make sure students really understand what academic dishonesty is and how to make sure they're not plagiarizing or anything like that. And so there's just that brief information that's in the student orientation. So the teacher needs to know that the student has been through that material before they'll grade work. And then for the Self-Paced Plus, the teachers are available by email, also by office hours when needed, and also by appointment, so that there's not just a standing hour, but when there's a concept or something that students want more time on, they can request that. They also may post and moderate discussion boards. In a humanities class, this may be topics for discussion, questions with, asking the students to participate. This is optional. These aren't graded discussion boards, but it just adds a dimension of interaction that wasn't previously in the Self-Paced Plus courses, but now with the teacher, we're able to offer this. And then the teacher's there to just assist the student in the overall completion of the course. So with that, I would like to ask if there are any questions over just the self-paced or self-paced plus version of what we just went over. I'm looking to see. Okay, I guess if I get a question, I'll know, and I'll come back to it. But if not,